Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magicman. This is episode 136. Joining me, a man who plays a lot of Candy Crush.
Ooh,
We'll get to that.
Not that much.
We'll get to that later. Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, and so are my thumbs.
Tendons all work? They're all good?
Yep.
Awesome. We'll get to that when we get to the bombs. If you don't know what we're talking about, you definitely want to stick around for Jason's bomb this week. Mine's just an Echo of Soul 2015 watch, so
That's all you talk about now. It's Echo of Soul, right?
it's one of the ones I'm watching. I'm watching it, and I keep feeling a little more generic every time I watch it. But I'm still watching it. But we've got a lot of news to cover, and in fact, we're going to add something here that isn't in the show notes. Lots of games closing down this week. Jason's already written one article. I'm going to be
I was scared there for a minute. I was like, what?
Yeah, Jason's already posted one article about some game closures. I've got another one that I'll be posting as soon as we finish recording. So, yeah. 'Tis the season, I guess. Let's go and do the news. So Magicka Wizard Wars by Paradox Entertainment apparently doesn't need a beta. It's just early access, and boom, right into launch on April 28th. Now, I just did a bomb live maybe a month and a half or so ago where I played some Magicka Wizard Wars. I hadn't jumped into it in a while, and I really had a hard time getting acclimated to the sequences of counters and what you should do when.
It takes a while. Yeah.
It's one of those games that you've got to step on and stay on it for a little while. But a lot of people weren't happy with a lot of things, particularly the cash shop in this game. And as we move forward to April 28th, there's a lot of changes coming, particularly on the cash shop front. Let's talk about the game first. To me, and you've played a little bit of it, I remember a bomb live where you played it with Spunkify. I don't know if you've played it since then. To me, while fun in its own respect, it's not something I can play for longer than an hour and then probably not pick up again. I just didn't feel drawn to the game enough to want to sit there and get the idea of use these three magics in this order to do this and this and this. Oh, and somebody's doing this, react this way. I lost interest in it to that point. Does it hold that same thing for you, or are you all about Magicka Wars?
I could see how that would
Magicka
be
Wizard Wars.
Whatever. Magicka thing. I could see how that would be the case for someone who's not going to be really dedicated to it, but I can also see, as you talk about, it's got a pretty good skill ceiling if you're actually trying to play well to get all your sequences down, whatever. Yeah, if you're only going to play for an hour every now and then, you're probably not going to get into it. If you're going to be really hardcore about it, especially if you're going to have your own dedicated team, if you got your buddies who are all going to get into it, then it could be really something you'd be interested in. But it's probably not for casual, once-off kind of gamers.
So it is for you, or it is not for you?
No, it is not really. I mean, there's just,
So we're both on the same page then.
yeah, I mean, there's so many other things out there that have my interest. So.
Like Magicka 2, maybe. I don't know. Coming soon. TM. And they actually used soon TM in their press announce about April 28th. Now, I don't remember, because I got into... Paradox actually sent me stuff. This was after I had left MMO Bomb for a little while. And in that interim, while I was away, Paradox actually saw a show that I did on my own YouTube channel at the time, and emailed asking if I would make small videos for Wizard Wars in particular. And so they gave me access to the game, and it was a project with them where they wanted me to make these little 3- and 5-minute videos like I had been making on my channel, except do it with Magicka Wizard Wars. Now, eventually that fell through, and I didn't make the videos, but my point is I didn't have to pay for the access to the game, and I don't remember. I know you haven't for a while now. You haven't had to pay for a while for the early access. But was there a point, do you remember, early on in this one where if you didn't get a key from somewhere, you could opt to buy into this? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. In fact, if I look on the site, I almost want to say that we did an article on that. There was an early access package, as you tend to see for a lot of stuff. Let me just look that up real quick.
Because if that's the case, this one kind of reeks to me of, not only do we all know that paying for early access is essentially paying for the right to beta access, to beta test somebody's not finished game. But in this case, going straight from early access to launch is like total developer recognition of thanks for paying to test this.
Now, hold on a second. Let me just see here. Early access to launch. Because as I search Magicka on our site, I see articles that say it's going into open beta last year. So now I don't even know.
Yeah, it would have been a while ago. I know you haven't had to pay for a while to get into this one.
Sure.
But I don't remember, and maybe the viewers do, if you remember a time when the only way to get into Magicka was to get a founder's pack of some type.
And actually, I found an old article here. It says, get guaranteed early access to the alpha by purchasing the starter, founder, or impressive wizard packs for $12.99, $19.99, or $49.99.
I kind of feel less bad about this one, though, knowing now from what you just said that open beta has been pretty much a year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel as bad now that was it technically even an open beta? Did they advertise it as such?
Let's see here.
Because they've made kind of like this point of we're going straight from early access to launch.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about now. So they're kind of going back and forth. Let's see, open beta.
It sounds like they just want to market this whatever way they want to at the time.
Probably. I mean, I don't see a link to an actual like press release that says actually here's an open beta trailer. Well, gosh, who knows?
Okay, so maybe there was an official beta, and we just don't know what the hell we're talking about. That's quite possibly the case.
But again, like you said, I'm sure I read it. They're saying that, hey, we're going straight from early access to... Okay.
So what's going to change, though? I don't feel bad about the Founders Pack anymore, knowing that...
You've let it go.
I've let it go. I've come to terms. It's not you, Magicka. It's me. It's just never going to work out. What's going to change when the game launches on the 28th? Well, there's new mastery... What's up?
Oh, go ahead. I thought you were asking me, but go ahead.
There's new mastery progression trees, completely reworked how wizards progress in the storefront. They've now implemented a master tree in the store format. Simply put, this is from their announcement, it's a great big beast of a tree that allows you to choose where you want to specialize your wizard. You can choose to build along a particular element specialization or work on many at the same time. The choice is yours. Mastery tokens, which is something that people have a bit of a conversation about on the forums, particularly people that like to leave matches. Mastery tokens will be awarded at the end of a round, so unscrupulous wizards who tend to flee from the battle, you probably want to rethink those decisions. To me, good change.
I'm in favor of anything that tries to prevent quitters.
Yeah, and they did quite a bit of this, too. They've got some other things in here where it's all about keeping people from quitting.
Random loot at round end, yeah.
Yeah. Any items that you do own, though, regardless of where they appear in the Mastery Tree, guys, you still own them. And they're still usable. So anything you already have, you're fine. To keep people sticking around, Jason, you just mentioned random loot.
Yep, random free stuff. You can be gifted with any number of goodies, crowns, mastery tokens, or a robe. Who doesn't like extra chances at shiny stuff? Smiley.
Please stay. Don't leave. Please stay.
But actually, every just about any arena battle game could benefit from something like this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Here's one of the big ones when it comes to Cash Shop, right? And this is one that when you posted the story, immediately people were like, pay to win. I hate the way they do this with the Cash Shop.
Of course they did. It's in the article on our site.
People talked about that, and to a certain extent, I agree with the problems with the Cash Shop. However, some big changes coming to this one. So level locks are being removed on those items, and all items can now be purchased with crowns. This one's a biggie. All level locks been removed from items, as have real money prices. From here on out, all purchases are made with gold crowns. And their quote is, "We heard your feedback about the progression system and decided to do this big overhaul in conjunction with the new mastery system. Now, it's possible to get any item you could wish for in the game at any point you wish. The mastery tree unlocks excluded, of course. Just be prepared to put in some effort to earn it." For those of you sitting on a big crown stockpile, congrats. You can now just go and spend it. And the only thing, of course, that I don't like is just be prepared to put some effort in to earn it. Grind.
Yeah.
Grind. But,
okay, go ahead.
I mean, can you really complain at that point, though?
Again, as long as it's not, do 100 battles or something you can get for $3, and sure, if it's, 5 to 10 battles to get a new little thingy, then that's fine. But what I could recall, though, from the little bit I played, it seemed like most of at least the staffs, at least, were like side grades. Somebody give you better fire magic and worse water magic or something like that, so you'd at least have some sort of balance to it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the items that you could buy straight up with cash or had a level lock on it, yes, they did exactly that. Where, yes, you were gaining a perk in whatever magic you really like to use if you were a fire fan, but there was usually the downside on the other side where you were losing ice or water or whatever. But to me, that doesn't really matter. Yes, it's nice that at the end of the day, +6 and -6, you're still at 0. But if you specifically like to play a fire wizard, then there was definitely an advantage to spending money for you,
sure.
at the end of the day. So yes, it's a zero-sum game, but you are still paying for power. Not anymore. Everything's with crowns, and the level things are removed. Revamped magic screens, we're not going to talk about that. It's pretty much just UI changes. There's going to be a crafting button, though, and this is totally new. You'll notice the ominous appearance of a crafting button on the UI. It's not immediately in use yet, but for preparation for the crafting system, expect to see a use for crystals here, because crystals will no longer be shown in the UI. They've removed crystals as a purchasing currency, but you're going to use them now in the crafting. I don't know. This isn't the type of game that I really am looking for a crafting thing.
Well, I could see it if you get random drops and they're not useful to you. Maybe you can refine, salvage them or break them down into something else. Kind of like getting extra cards in Hearthstone and you go for dust and whatever. So if it's on that level, then maybe. It just seems odd they would add it this late in the process. Because everything we're talking about, if you went live in a patch like yesterday, in advance of the full official launch. So
right.
It's just odd they would put it in at this late a point and right before the real launch, which makes you wonder what the heck is the real launch.
The consumable magics thing, though, I really like. What's that all about, though?
Consumable magics lets you try before you buy, save mastery points for something else. You can use magic scrolls that let you use magic you don't normally own, but with a limited number of charges, like a magic wand with it's a scroll actually, but going with how some other games work, it'd be like a magic wand with limited shots or something. So
I kind of dig that.
I sort of do. I'm never a big fan of like limited time purchases. Like you get this power for a day or something like that. That's kind of how it feels. If it's really cheap, then sure, something to just toss out there. But
But I get it. I get it in the sense of Magicka, though, and I usually agree with you. Don't let me rent a gun for 7 days. Just tell me how much the damn thing is to buy and be permanent. But I like the idea of you actually being able to, in this particular game, okay, this is the way I'm thinking of spending mastery points, but let me go and try this out for a little bit and see how it goes before I commit those mastery points. I like that. It's not you have a rent, buy.
Sure.
It's, here, we'll go give you 5 fire bombs. Go play with them. If you like the way they work and they work with your character, it's going to cost you 1,000 mastery points. Come back and get them. I like the way that works in Magicka. To me, it fits the mold of the game, whereas something like, Brick Force, and you buy that sniper rifle for 2 days, I hate that type of stuff. Ugh. All in all, I think the update going into launch is fantastic. I mean, it seems like they took a lot of player feedback here.
Yeah, I might actually go ahead and take another look at it finally.
What?
Yeah. You can be my partner. I promise not to kill you too many times.
Moving on. So check it out. Magicka Wizard Wars. Finally launching April 28th. Let us know what you think of the new cash shop and the reworks in some of the mechanics and UI. Throw it in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Next up, apparently, speaking of cash shops, monetization is kind of a big deal in free-to-play, isn't it?
Really? Who knew?
Who knew? Jason, you spent some time this week talking about this one on MMO Bomb, pretty much in response to the Skyforge debacle and the H1Z1 debacle that we talked about on previous shows. You'll have to go back and check those out if you don't know what we're talking about. We don't want to rehash them here. But what's the big deal? What's your message to developers here?
Basically, you're not going to hide your monetization details, no matter what region they're in, no matter whether they're in beta or any sort of early access or whatever. If you put in something that people can spend money on anywhere, anyhow, People are going to assume that it's going to apply to them eventually when the game launches or in their region or whatever, and they're going to form judgments on it. It's like any kind of first impression. It's the same thing we talk about a game. Play a game for the first time at early access or beta or whatever. Maybe something in there isn't what you actually want or how it's going to turn out, and a lot of people are going to realize, okay, fine, they're going to have time to change that, whatever. Gameplay this or whatever. But the same thing applies to your monetization, and people are going to be even more likely to form a first impression. Especially if you have any sort of notion of pay to win or any kind of other, pay or grind or something like that. It's going to form a very strong, very lasting impression. It's going to get parroted out there all over the place, all over the internet, forums, Reddit, our site, whatever. And you can't put that aside and say, well, we're just going to put it over here. Nobody will notice it. It's just a thing we're doing in here. No, they're going to notice it. They're going to comment on it, and they're going to form judgments on it. And it just seems like that sort of thing that a lot of companies just aren't quite getting. Skyforge was kind of in that way, and that they did the thing with the credit limits. They did that, and then supposedly had a way to get around that in the Russian beta. But still, people in North America said, hey, they're doing this over in Russia. They're going to do it over here, too, I bet.
And they did.
All the forum issues with, I think people got banned for saying pay to win, and they got unbanned, and Spunkify had to jump in and say stuff. So it's like, guys, you're just not going to conceal that sort of thing. Don't even try. Take command. Whenever you put that sort of thing in, control the narrative. Put up some of your own comment on it, so it doesn't just get tossed around as a sort of, hey, this is what I saw over here. Now let's have 500 people comment on it. It's better to be the people in charge of that and taking control of it right from the start rather than letting the mob have a shot at it.
And we've seen this done right, too. I mean, we're spending a lot of time here talking about Skyforge in particular and H1Z1 with their airdrops, because those were bad examples of this. And, a game that used to be very near and dear to my heart, and I hope one day will be again. Please fix ArcheAge and stop screwing over your players. Excuse me. Rift, they did this one right. There's not too many people that have a huge problem with the cash shop. Maybe prices. I mean, I think some of the prices are a little ridiculous, but other than that, I can't really argue with the cash shop too much. But it was because when they brought it out, they said, immediately they said, hey, we're going free to play. Here's our plan. Here's our monetization model. By the way, our cash shop, yes, it's going to have gear in it, but it's going to be one tier below whatever the best gear is in the game. And it will always be that way. If you feel that's pay to win, I'm sorry. This is our monetization plan. They were upfront with it as soon as they were ready to release the details. They released them in full. They didn't, snip it here and here and react to things that were said. They just went through the whole plan, laid it out. Now, if you like it or not, that's up to you, but this is our whole plan, and here's the thing. On the counter side, one of your favorite games didn't do it so right.
Which one?
Lord of the Rings Online.
Oh, Lord of the Rings Online. Okay, I was like, wait, we were talking about this. Okay, right. Well, I mean, they did when they first came out, but then they had an interview later where they had an interview a little while later. They said, we will never sell gear. Never. And then about 2 years later, they started selling gear, and we're like, oh, we forgot about that interview completely.
Womp womp.
It's like, okay, guys, sure.
Oh, my God. I've got like 2 phones right here for work.
They both went off. How about a spider? Did you get a spider too?
No, I didn't get a spider this time. No spider.
Yeah, it's and that's a little different, but it's also just a case of you're letting the fans decide. I mean, you kind of have to let them decide when you put something out there or whatever, but you're kind of letting them control the narrative instead of you. It should have been, first of all, obviously they should have remembered that interview and should have recognized that selling gear in any sense is going to poke some people the wrong way. If you introduce that for the first time, yeah, you got to be ready to comment on it, like you said with Rift did, but like how H1Z1, how Daybreak, SOE, whatever, really didn't do. How they kind of laughed it off as, oh, it's not pay to win, whatever, move on with the airdrops. That's just not the right. That's just not the right approach to take. If you're going to sell gear, be ready to explain it. Make sure everybody who's going to have any chance to explain it, all your developers, all your PR guys, whoever's doing the streams, whatever, make sure they all know what the company line is and just be ready for it.
Hawk Fun on the site said, I seriously like the monetization way of Warframe DE. They managed to make it simple and profitable for them from Digital Extreme. Yeah, I agree. Warframe is a nice example of very simple, streamlined. You may not like some aspects of it, fine. Yeah, I mean, you don't like everything that's in the grocery store, so don't buy it.
But I will admit that is another thing that kind of cheesed me off a little bit was when they have like 83,000 different ways to convert this to that and have this sort of cash shop thing and this over here. That's a little how like Neverwinter works for me.
And that's one of the things
that's
that
what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
that's one of the things that aggravates me in Rift. There are 15 currencies at any given time, and every event has its own damn currency, and oh god.
Which is the one I'm supposed to use?
Right. You open up the cash shop window, and in the lower left-hand corner, it's literally got a block of all these different currencies. It's just, make this easy for me, please. I'm trying to give you money, or trying to see if it's worth not giving you the money on my side as a consumer because I can get it another way. Don't make it so complex to figure out whether I'm trying, for me to make a decision, should I give you $5 or should I spend 2 or 3 days in game?
It'd be like if the grocery store offered you something for $5, another thing for 800 yen, another thing for
exactly.
40 lira, and you have to decide which one is the best buy. No, I can't do that. Put it all in dollars. Let me figure it out like that.
So let me ask you this question. When should a new game, something like a Skyforge or an Echo of Soul that's coming or a Cabal 2 that's coming, these games that are coming that maybe we don't have all the details about their cash shop yet, Skyforge is going into its third closed beta on the 22nd, I believe. Echo of Soul is supposed to go into beta in May. Cabal 2 is supposed to go into beta this summer. So when should these companies release that information?
I think you can keep it under wraps for quite a while until you're trying to figure it out. It's just that once you reveal it anywhere, it's going to be revealed everywhere. You can't just say, well, we're going to just introduce it to the one server in some other country and just assume that nobody will pay attention to that. They're going to. I don't have an issue with somebody waiting until a month or two or even a little longer than that, or shorter than that, whatever. I don't have too much trouble with them, doing it, not putting it in at that point. What you should probably do, though, is probably, if you're going to do something that seems at all unusual, which, granted, everything probably is going to have their own little quirk or whatever, but if you're going to do something kind of odd, you probably should have a blog post or some sort of dev post, some sort of thing really out in public before the cash shop goes live in the game, whether it's in the beta or whether it's live or whatever. You probably should have at least a little bit of explanation of your policies before you put it out there. Because, again, if you do that, or if you don't do that, if you just put the cash shop in there, then, yeah, everyone's going to form their own opinions. Whereas being able to kind of control that a little bit beforehand, I think can go a long way.
So your advice to developers, then, is I don't care when you release the information. It could be as soon as alpha starts or 2 days before the open beta launches. Mm-hmm. I don't care when, but have your plans for all of your regions, which they already do. They already have that stuff. Right. And be ready for everybody to speak the same way on the topic. And as soon as you release it anywhere in the world, be ready to just drop it for the entire world.
Pretty much.
That's your advice. Awesome. Let us know what your advice would be to developers. My advice would be just don't do it for free. You should do it for free.
Well, yeah, the whole thing for free.
You should build them all these MMOs that I like to play. You should just build them all for free and just don't worry about making money. You don't really need money, really. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just dumb. Moving on. Speaking of try-on worlds, we've got news on both the ArcheAge and the Rift front. We've already talked a little bit about Rift's cash shop. I'm going to roll some Rift footage for you while we're chatting here. So try-on worlds. Let's talk about ArcheAge first, because this is the shorter of the two, I think. Excuse me. They're getting the new Dread Prophecies update pretty soon. TM. 2 new zones, which means new housing. Let's place our bets right now.
I give it 12.5 minutes before all the plots are taken.
12.5 minutes. Now, is that 12.5 minutes from when they implement it onto the server or when they actually bring the server back up? Because sometimes these things are getting taken away without even being required to be online by some people. I don't know. So we've got a PvE zone We've got a PvP zone, which seems to be the MO for this type of game, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Ammo for the MMO?
Yeah, for PvE players, Golden Ruins, that's where it's going to be at. That's a zone that has about a medium-sized housing area. You'll be able to get crafting components for your obsidian weapons, things like that. On the PvP front, Mist Marrow's the zone for you, gang. And think of it, it's a point-based takeover map. Go and, take over a point, hold it, don't lose it, hold it for as long as possible, rack up warrior medals for being first, second, and third, and use those medals to buy various things. Other than that, we don't really have much information on Dread Prophecies yet. And I really don't care. I know that's awful to say, but like, I wanted to like ArcheAge. Yeah. I really did. And this is going to be our question of the week, because I need some people that are like me that wanted to like ArcheAge, played it, and just didn't, or stopped playing it for whatever reason, or even you guys and gals that really, really are just totally into ArcheAge, no matter what Try on Worlds has done to try and screw that up almost. You're still playing it. You still love it. We're going to get to that in the question of the week, because I need help from both of you. I've wanted to like ArcheAge. I tried, and it lasted for 2 days. 2 days, and I was out. And there hasn't been a single thing that they've done or announced that even made me want to go back and look at it. And that's what scares me the most for the long term on ArcheAge.
I keep thinking I want to try to make an article out of this, but the thing I want to keep trying to, and we joke about it with the whole, it's going to take 12 minutes to fill up all the land or whatever. But I feel like, answer your damn phone.
Right?
But I feel like when you have a game like this, so you have this open sandbox, we could all go everywhere and do everything. Everyone has the notion that I'm going to be this guy who just goes out and adventures and pirates and whatever. And the thing is, there's going to be other people out there who have 90 times as much free time as you do, and we're going to get those plots the instant they're available. We're going to get the best ships and the best crafting thing, and they're going to plot all that stuff. You can't just play this 2, 3, even 4 hours a day and think you're going to, stay caught up. But a lot of us thought we would. And then you go there, and the people who are really insane are the ones who are actually getting all the stuff. So,
on the flip side, though, Rift launching patch 3.2 today, literally today as we're recording this on the 15th. So if you're watching it tomorrow on the 16th, it's already in there. Patch 3.2 Echoes of Madness goes live. And this is one of those things that I wish they would do with ArcheAge, where I see a patch and stuff that's going into the patch, and even though I'm committed to my boycott of Rift at the moment, I read what's going in and I'm like, damn, I really want to log in and just check it out. Like, even if I don't play for a long time, there's stuff there that I want to go and check out. And I've just never once seen that for ArcheAge. We'll get to the question of the week. Maybe the viewers can help me with that one. And I think there's stuff in here that even you would like, because if I remember right, you were a Rift guy back when Hammer Knell was big, right?
Really... Only for the first few months. I didn't do a whole lot of dungeons, but yeah, I mean, for the first few months, I got to level 50, did a few, checked back in a little bit when Storm Legion was there, and they kind of drifted away. But yeah, it was something I was pretty decently into for a while. And yeah, I'm looking at what they're doing, and it makes me want to go back. I looked at my old screenshots, because I was looking for an old particular screenshot, and I sort of felt like I wanted to go back in.
Yeah, I love the idea of a reworked Hammer Knell. Where they've gone in, and there's an extensive post. I linked to about 17 different things on my Rift Patch 3.2 article that I put up yesterday. So check it out on mmobomb.com. It's got links to all the pieces of the patch if you want to check it out. So the Hammer Knell raid obviously is a big one. Having that revamped, retooled, bosses totally reworked to new content, that's just really cool. Yeah, if you're looking for brand new raids, okay, fine, I can understand why you might be a little bit disappointed, but this one just smacks longtime Rift players right in the mouth and says, come back and check it out. Which I really like. The other instant adventures going also to Hammer Knell, I think that's very cool. They're also being reworked so that the rewards from instant adventures are actually going to people that participate. Thank you.
But I try to participate, but then I try to get there and then everything's already been killed. So what am I supposed to do?
Well, and then they're also moving instant adventures away from zones that already have active events going on. And this is something that they've needed to do for a while now. I'm glad it's going in there because I hate jumping into an instant adventure and half of the group would go away to go do some event that was in the zone that happened to be in that zone where the instant adventure took place.
I don't mind stuff overlapping. I wish there was a way instead to get people kicked out of the instant adventure if they go too far from the point. Or the stuff. I'd rather see that rather than,
See, I don't know if I like that because then you're influencing. I queued up because I want to do this instant adventure, and now things are becoming harder, more difficult, or more time-consuming than they should have been because this event went on and half of the group that was running around with us just bailed, got too far away, and they were dropped from the instant adventure. I kind of would rather see it this way where let's push these things into zones that don't actually have active events going on right now.
More stuff all going on at once. That's what I want. Sorry if it doesn't fit your exact little linear freaking play.
Oh, well, I'm a Care Bear. All right, fine. Then we'll give you one that you like. The wardrobe system. Finally being introduced. Let me pull up Jason's screenshot so he can speak to it here. Here you go.
The thing is, the problem with my screenshot you'll see is it's mostly like crafting mats and other junk. And while I love the wardrobe that they're putting in, it's like they played Guild Wars 2 and just are copying that over. But man, I wish they'd do the same thing for crafting materials.
I like the wardrobe system. So if you're not familiar with it, all those costume pieces that you have that have been taking up bag spaces, they're not going to go into their own wardrobe system. Not only that, the wardrobe system is account wide too. So that thing that you have to farm 900 of currency alpha, beta, delta to earn, you don't have to do it on multiple characters. So I think the wardrobe system's very cool. Long time coming. Glad it's finally being there. Your bags look amazing here, by the way.
Thank you.
Amazing. It takes up your entire screen.
That was from the first article I ever wrote on how bad inventory systems were. And that was before I had my widescreen monitor, too, so that's a little...
To me, they kind of nailed this one. This is a patch that does make me want to go and check out the game. On the ArcheAge front, although we only have the 2 zone details, I'm sure there's going to be stuff added that may be interesting to ArcheAge players. There hasn't been one patch yet that made me want to say, okay, well, let me go give ArcheAge another look. And see what's going on.
The ArcheAge patch is just new places, new stuff, or new places to go, new content, but nothing really nothing to address the other issues that we might have had.
Yeah, new houses.
Yeah.
That I can't get anyway.
New monsters.
That none of us are going to get anyway. All right, let's slide over to the weekly bombs and wrap this one up, gang. We got some great... Oh, my God. I'm giving an A-bomb to my coworker that has now called me 4 times and sent an email that says, "Where are you?" when I have on my calendar I'm blocked out for this hour. Here come the bombs. All right, first up, mine's real quick. Echo of Soul Watch 2015 continues. For me, it's another A-bomb. The Warrior class reveal. Unless something changes with that class, it's 100% cookie cutter, and I'm worried about the rest of the game as well because there's a lot of generic in it, which is a shame because I really like the art style and the music. I really, really like the music, but the rest of the game right now, until I get my hands on it, everything I'm seeing just looks very generic. I do want to give a dub bomb to EA though. Announcing closures is never easy, right? Even if it's a game that you're like, I didn't even know that game existed. I didn't even know it existed. EA has found a new way to do it, though. And Jason posted an article on MMO Bomb today that they'll be closing down Battlefield Heroes, Battlefield Play for Free, Need for Speed World, and FIFA World. They'll be shutting down. They'll be active for the next 90 days. So you got 3 months to go in and check them out if you want to. Other than that, they're shutting down. Why do I give them a dub bomb, though? Because you gotta love when the way they announce a closure of a game is by telling you how successful one of their other games is. In this case, it was Star Wars, wasn't it?
Star Wars Old Republic. They're like, yeah, that's doing really well. We love our dedicated player base. By the way, though, we're going to shut down these other 4 games that aren't doing as well. Really?
On the closure note, we also have, let me pull it up. I'm going to be writing about this very shortly. Grand Chase is closing its doors effective immediately. That's the side-scrolling MMORPG from COG Games, Grand Chase. And for players that played Grand Chase for either the 7 years that it was available here in North America or the 12 years that it's been available in other parts of the world, if you play it, then there is an offer being extended to you where you can get a completely free character level boost for Elsword if you have a max character in Grand Chase. So if you're looking for a change and you're still playing Grand Chase, Elsword is trying to woo you over. So I guess I'll give a dub bomb to a free max level character if you already have one. You're up.
All right, I'm going to give my A-bomb to a guy that I discovered just when I read this headline. And the headline says, "Man tears tendon after playing Candy Crush for weeks." So, yeah, apparently a guy says he went to the doctor when his thumb was kind of sore, hurting a little bit, having trouble moving it. And he said to the doctors he had played Candy Crush Saga on his smartphone all day for 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
He played the game with his left hand while he used his right hand for other things, the report said.
Yeah, we're going to leave that one alone.
Yeah. But, yeah, kids, those repetitive stress warnings they have in a lot of video. I know nobody reads the video game manuals anymore. You should take breaks every couple of hours. They're not kidding.
From the viewers, Corrido PT want to give a dub bomb to the Florencia community. They were going to turn the game down, but because of the community, someone else picked it up, and the game is going to keep running. Good job. Go ahead, sir.
All right, UDK Facey says, "My question for the MMO Bombcast is this. When or will WildStar go free to play?" Haven't we done this like 8 times already? And would you jump back in if it did? Also, what happened to Gamebreaker? Gamebreaker happened to Gamebreaker. In terms of WildStar, I think it will, but I think they have to kind of fix the initial game. It's they have to make it more appealing in general. Because I said this before, even if they went free to play immediately, it wouldn't change a lot of what's in the game. You have to make that game less grindy,
which they're doing. I mean, they're
taking steps towards. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little while still. I mean, at least I guess we're actually almost up to a year since launch. July, I think, was when it launched.
I think it's going to be sooner than you expect. We're already seeing, I think it was last night or into today, what we saw with the Elder Scrolls Online before it made its buy-to-play transition. The boxes are leaving Australia's shelves already.
Oh, okay.
So we're starting to see...
That's just Australia.
We're starting to see that already. What happened to Gamebreaker? I don't know what you're referencing. If you're referencing why don't Jason or I do things on Gamebreaker, I can't speak for Jason, but I still do. Unfortunately, my time right now until about the middle of May is incredibly restricted, and I just can't do as much as I want there. If you're talking about what happened to it as a site, and the way they've gone with the posts and the content and stuff, that's just a direction that the ownership picked. Whether it's right or wrong, if you don't like it, okay. If you do, great. I still have tons of friends over there. Love Gary Gannon, love Q, love Justin, love them all. On that topic, Jacob Peter Christensen asks, you mentioned Twemo, which is a Gamebreaker show that Jason and I have been on a lot, in earlier broadcasts. Do you know what recent events led to the show going off the air with no prior announcement? I do not. I hadn't done a Twemo for about a month, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So
I thought they were still doing them. Like I thought
they were. Yeah, they were. I haven't seen one for a while.
On another note, you can look for Mike and I on a different show at some point in the not too distant future.
Yes.
Mike and I separately on the same show.
Separately on different weeks. We recorded it Monday. Unfortunately,
you actually did one already.
We did one Monday,
okay.
And we kind of plugged it last week. It'll be on Massively OP. It's kind of a debate show. I think you're really going to like it. We recorded it Monday. Unfortunately, after the fact, there were issues with the recording, so we'll be re-recording it Monday. This coming Monday.
Glad you were the test subject.
And it's expected to air next Wednesday on Massively OP. But don't hold me to those dates because it's still a pilot episode, so we're not locked in on a date. That's just the tentative plan right now. And then Jason's on it a few weeks later. So, talking about free-to-play. What's that?
I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
Some Bizarre BZ. So I got an F-bomb for Swotar for making the PvP from level 30 above almost unplayable. Any match you join has 6 level 59s that would kill you in 9 seconds while you can't even drop their health under 70%. They done effed it up again. I can remember playing a lot of PvP when the level cap was 50, so you'd have up through 49, and that was fun. But I can see that once you get to 50,
Yep.
you get so much more awesome gear from that, and then a few levels beyond that I could see how upping that bracket up to 59 is probably not a great idea.
The Fear Fan says an A-bomb to Area Games for abandoning Fear Online without any warning and ignoring the players completely. They should at least tell us if they're going to shut the game or fix it. Dub-bomb to Ghost Recon Online. They're taking that game in the right direction. I like Ghost Recon Online.
I didn't know about the Fear Online news.
I like the tactical shooters like that, squad-based type stuff. Question of the week last week. Give me your thoughts on Cabal 2 now that we're getting detailed videos on the game. Are you excited for it at all? Guestly, a longtime MMO Bomb viewer. Welcome, Guestly. Love you, miss you. I played Cabal for some time. I won't call myself a hardcore player, but for that time, Cabal was eye candy for me. Animation was great, and that's the one part that I really liked about Cabal. I played with friends, but the game never made us play together besides dungeons. There were self-buffs, buff for each class you could share with others. It was pretty much easy solo play. After I heard about Cabal 2 and there was the priest, that made me think, finally, you have to play with friends and parties in-game besides dungeons. But at last, big but, only silence from Cabal 2, and again silence. And I pretty much don't care anymore. It's more like, meh, gonna try it sometime. And after such silence and no updates, I think there's lots of players who just grow tired of waiting and don't really care anymore. But it's free to play, and lots of players are going to try the game out. Nevertheless, they've played the first Cabal or not, and I don't know if gameplay, graphics, etc. will be up to date at this point. So it's just my thoughts. And I think there's a certain nugget of truth there that when you make people wait exceptionally long periods of time, at some point they just don't care anymore.
And I thought we weren't going to mention Phantasy Star Online too.
Oh, I hate you. Go ahead.
All right, no name. I don't know if that's like his handle or if he just had no name. But this person says, hello. Hi. So do we wait for Cabal 2? No. We are waiting for Black Desert Online and Lineage Eternal or even Skyforge. There are just so much more things that seem much better than Cabal 2. They probably will hit the market very soon. So, yeah, I don't think I would even try to download it.
Wow.
And that's the issue that you run into these days. I mean, you can't just make a game that's kind of okay. You're competing with so many other games, and they're just about all free to play. So they can all just jump right in. So, and that's the thing for me with Cabal. Like if Cabal 2 was the only MMO that existed, I'd probably play it. Or
there's a ringing endorsement.
if like it in Scarlet Blade or something, I would play Cabal 2. But there's so many other things out there. I'm probably not going to get that into it.
Jashwanth, again, longtime MMO Bomb viewer, says, oh my god, there's a game called Cabal 2. I just checked it out. I don't think much people are going to download that game because there's a lot of games which look better and have a lot of things coming out soon. And who takes time to download so many gigabytes of data? I'm sure not going to even look at it. By the way, you're back, Magic Man. When you left MMO Bomb for a while, I stopped watching. I'm back now. Big fan here. Well, welcome back. Yeah, I've been back for a while, and Jason and I have been doing this for half a year now. But yes, welcome back. By all means, tell your friends. Last up.
Terra Nova 667. Again, we have to talk about Phantasy Star Online too, and we have to get a bomb from Terra Nova. So now the episode is complete. Question of the week. Cabal 2 looks like it could be fun, a sort of mixture of Terra with Raiders and Rift. Going by the videos I've watched, the chain skills, combos, and battle mode look neat. Graphically, it looks decent. Nothing that is pushing things to the next level, but it doesn't look too dated either. And there are nice effects and animations going on with the skills. I have signed up for closed beta. Hopefully it will play as good as it seems to look.
All right, mixed crowd. Question of the week this week. I'm calling on my ArcheAge friends here. Please, help me. If you still play ArcheAge, please tell me what rocks about the game. Why do I absolutely have to jump in? If you don't play it, or you are like me, you used to play it and you left, tell me what ArcheAge could do to win you back. Put it in the comments below.
I will say that ArcheAge is the only one of the love it or hate it's that I've done so far that has gotten more hate it's than love it's.
Yep.
So.
There you go. So put your comments below. Make sure you use put your weekly bombs down there. Da bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad. Hell, just put a question down there like some of our other viewers. If you just want to ask Jason or I or Celsius or Brim or whoever happens to be on the show that week, we'll get them to answer the question as well. It's always awesome hanging out with you, sir. Where can the internet find you?
You know, you can find me on Twitter at WinterInformal, on Twitch, twitch.tv/JasonWinter, and the somewhat dusty now blog, jasonwinter.wordpress.com.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1. It's MagicKManN1. Or you can come over to MMO Bomb, check out the videos, the articles, the opinions, the editorials, the love it, hate it surveys, everything that's going on over there. We'd love to see you there. Put some stuff in the comments. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the server.
Take care, be